Hey, welcome to the show. We're at the 2018 Misselwood Concourse d'Elegance.
Right here in Beverly, Massachusetts on the coast. It's a beautiful day.
We're going to go look at some great cars, meet some owners. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Mike from Evans Coolant. I'm here with Dirk Burrowes in his garage, and we just converted this 1949 Rover. And Dirk, now that we've permanently preserved this classic, what do you think?
Well, you know, it was simple, it was easy, just follow the directions that came along with the waterless coolant. And I'm looking forward not to having these kinds of problems with less than 500 miles on my classic, gumming up and losing water pump. Mike, where can I find this?
You can find it pretty much anywhere, Amazon.com, Summit Racing, but I would start at evanscoolant.com.
Terrific. Hey, make sure to see the full episode of Classic Drive Television where we convert over the Rover to waterless coolant.
I'm Jim, and I'm from Lowry's Auto Restoration, and this is my crew, and you're watching Classic Drive Television.
And welcome back to the 2018 Misselwood Concourse d'Elegance. Dirk, a concourse, the very word concourse, has many different meanings, but in this case with automobiles, something very special.
Well, generally, concourse in recent times has meant perfection, beauty. The d'Elegance part comes from really the 1700s in France, where owners would bring their carriages decorated out and really one-upsmanship.
Some of the most knowledgeable folks kind of relate concourse to an appraisal of an automobile, and of course that's what's going to happen today with the judges. But something special has happened with what used to be kind of a strict perfection to what is now original.
Well, that's true. You know, it used to be that it was about how well a car was restored to originality. Today, it's really becoming more about how well a car is preserved in its original state. And, you know, there are exceptions made for a little nick, a dent, or a scratch, or things like that to be able to keep that original paint or original glass or original interior.
And in this particular event, we are seeing the best of the best and the valuable of valuable, incredible today.
Well, it is. You know, we've got foreign, we've got American, we've got years spanning from the single digits all the way through until the 1980s. If you like cars, there is absolutely a car you're going to fall in love with here.
Right here at Misselwood Classic Drive Television.
We'll be right back. Hey, we're back on the concourse field, and I'm with Bruce Mail with his 1950 R-Type Bentley. It's an incredible car with only 208 of ever being built. Bruce, how did you have a love for this car? What made you decide to do this?
Well, the R-Type Continental Fastback is the iconic British car. They only made 208, and as a relatively rare vehicle, I've always coveted one. I had its younger sister, an S1 Bentley Continental Fastback, and enjoyed it, but I really wanted this car. So last year my wife and I made a trip to London. I drove 10 of these and chose the one that had the best performance. Only problem was it was in ugly red. So I dealt with the selling agent, and we did some research and found that the original color was Circassian blue. And that's what we brought the Bentley back to its original color. And I also made a decision to buy this particular Bentley because it had a very interesting history.
So the history here was this was originally built for clothier.
Right. And his name was R. Montague Burton, and he established a series of clothing stores throughout the UK called Burton and Burton. And his mantra was, you could buy a 5 guinea suit for 5 shillings, which were pre-made, pre-measured suits for the working man. And if you bought the entire suit, vest, tie, shirt, you bought the full Monty. And that's where the expression, the full Monty, emanated from, was Mr. Burton, because his first name was Montague. And that kind of added a little flair to my purchase decision, aside from the fact that this Bentley, all of them were handmade. Each individual car had certain specifications, as does this one.
Well, so there you have it. Bruce really did get the full Monty when he bought this car, that's for sure. It's just a wonderful car. We're going to take a look at some of the details of it, and we'll be right back. In the late 50s, America could do anything. In '59, the tail-fin era was live and well, and this DeSoto Firefly was one of the best, with its space-age swivel seats and its tilt wheel and dashboard right out of the Jetson era. It's a 2-door coupe, and they made a range of models. If you were American, you wanted this car. Although DeSoto was known as the car built to last, 1960 saw the end of the DeSoto brand. See cars like this and others on ClassicDriveTV.com and like us on Facebook.
I'm Eli English, and you're watching Classic Drive Television.
Every classic car can tell a story. There's history in every single one of those miles. Others have been before you, sat in these very seats. Owning a classic means you tell the rest of the story. You can feel the past in your hands when you grip the wheel. This is about you and everything you love about classic cars. Tell your story.
And sitting in the shade with me here at the 2018 Misselwood Concourse, the Elegance in Beverly, Mass. Endicott College, with me, Dr. Marcel Perlman and his wife, Renee Perlman. Very nice to see you today. A 1969 American Motors AMX. This was the competitor to Mustang, Challenger, and of course the venerable Camaro in the GM line. 1969 marked that time when muscle cars everywhere were the thing to have, and this is no exception, a 343 version. Right. And tell us a little bit more, Doctor, about this particular car.
Well, we bought this car particularly to run the 2014 Great Race. from Maine down to the villages in Florida. And then after the race, which it did admirably, 3,000 miles round trip with not a hitch, we decided to keep it. So this is what you see now. The interior is equipped for that race with the electronic speedometer and the official clock and all that nonsense. And we like the car. It's our third one.
As you spoke about the interior, something very unique of the era was the houndstooth inserts on the bucket seats and the rest of the. Of course, it's a two-seater, great car.
Yeah, the interior is as was, original interior. The car was repainted once, but other than that, it's totally original car.
Now we see everything here at Misselwood, and one of the things that you do is you've used your automobile, and that's a big deal.
Including driving it up from Danbury to the show on Friday.
It's just a great example, and something special about the particular license plate on this car, and you're going to tell us more about that.
Well, most people think that carat refers to the color of the car. Actually, there's a backstory. My family has always teased me that I'm like the donkey that needs that carrot on a stick in front of them to keep myself going, because I always need another project, another something to look forward to. So carrot has kind of a double entendre meaning.
It's very, very nice, and of course, we remember the American Motors Javelin, of course, Nash Rambler coming into American Motors, and then AMX was actually American Motors Experimental. The history of that.
It was actually a Javelin that they cut 14 inches out about where my shoulder is. They simply shortened the car 14 inches and made it a two-seater.
And of course, Doctor, we remember that American Motors came off the back of Nash and Rambler, and then of course becoming American Motors. The Javelin, a very well-known car of the era, and then the AMX American Motors Experimental.
That is correct. What they did was take a Javelin, cut 14 inches out of it from about where my shoulder is back to the tail of the car, made a two-seater out of it, and produced a production car called the AMX, which you see here.
And this is an incredible example of that. And more to come from the 2018 Misselwood Concourse d'Elegance.
Hey, we're in the back corner of the field where we found a real gem, a 1972 Datsun 240Z. And we're here with Jeff Mader, who restored this car and truly has a love for it. Jeff, how did you decide to do this car?
Well, I purchased it about 5 years ago, and it was in great original condition. My wife and I decided that we would like to take it up to the next level and bring it back to, better than showroom condition.
Well, it certainly is better than showroom condition now. So why the 240? Something in the family drew you to this?
When I was a kid, my dad lusted after this car. At the time, in 1970, when they first came out, there was a 6 to 9 month wait. He was really hot on it, but he didn't want to wait that long. He was at a doctor's visit, and he was chit-chatting with the doctor, and they got to talking about cars, and the doctor owned a green 240Z, 1970. He was going back to England to study in England, and he had to get rid of the car. Needless to say, my father raced home, got a checkbook, and wrote him a check right then and there, and within a day or two, had the green Z. It had about 7,000 miles on it when he bought it. So that was right around the time I was getting my driver's license. So this was the car I learned how to drive, a standard, yep.
Every kid's dream to have his father come home with a 7,000 mile, original mile sports car and just learning to get there to drive. So quite the, so the restoration is absolutely perfect.
Yeah, it's incredible.
So did you do a lot of this work yourself?
I did a lot of the engine bay work, but I'm an accountant by trade. So as far as the painting, I used a very reputable shop in Rhode Island, and they've done some of my buddies' cars. So I hired them to do it. It's like a Ferrari paint job, but they did a fabulous job.
So there's an interesting thing. This is the first time we've ever interviewed an accountant that's actually restored a car, because you know you're going into the red. There's no black on this, guys. gals. It actually is worth it, isn't it?
You know, you go in with a budget, and it's like my restorer, the guy that was the individual that was helping me, you know, and you end up blowing the budget out of the water. But what are you going to do? You're so far invested in it that to not go the full length of the, you know, and do everything, it would be shortchanging the car. So,
and,
you know.
And no regrets?
No regrets.
Yes.
No regrets.
You know, that's truly it. You know, if you have a car and you're going to restore it, you do it the best possible way you can, and you won't have a regret at the end. We'll be back with other cars. This is Classic Drive Television.
There's something magical about driving a classic automobile. You can feel the road slipping beneath you. Just you and the path ahead. This is what it all means. All those hours in the garage have come to light. You're keeping history alive. This is why we love classic cars.
Hi, I'm Dirk Burrowes for Classic Drive Television. In the 1930s, the running board era reached the pinnacle with this 1933 Marmon with a V16 engine. This car has a particularly interesting history. It was actually burned or set afire by an angry wife whose husband had spent the money on this car instead of a new kitchen for her. Join us for cars like this and others on ClassicDriveTV.com or join us on our Facebook page. In the late 50s, America could do anything. In '59, the tail fin era was live and well, and this DeSoto Fireflight was one of the best, with its space-age swivel seats and its tilt wheel and dash models. If you were American, you wanted this car. Although DeSoto was known as the car built to last, 1960 saw the end of the DeSoto brand. See cars like this and others on ClassicDriveTV.com and like us on Facebook.
People who follow classic cars know the names, Duesenberg, Cord, and Auburn. But what about Packard? This beautiful example of Packard Super 8 right here with me, Dirk Burrowes.
Well, you know, this has been owned by the same family for over 40 years and been very well taken care of. Packard, of course, one of the original luxury car companies starting in 1899 and going through 1958, Glenn.
Just an incredible example, and of course, the quality, the nickel, the brass, the incredible finishes, and we see some burl walnut interior.
It is a beautiful interior, and truthfully, this is as luxurious and as well made as any European luxury car built. Really a shame that Packard doesn't exist now.
Well, as so many had sort of hit the dust during the different war times and different times that there were downturns in the industry, these, along with other marks, made their way to the cemetery, so to speak. I see you've got golf clubs with you.
Well, I'm hoping to make my way to the 19th hole pretty soon. So off we go.
Stay with us right here.
Hey, we're back out in the show field, and I'm here with Bob DeSantis, the chief judge at the Concours d'Elegance here at Misselwood. Bob, tell us, what goes into developing the concourse, and you know, what is it judged? How is it judged? And
that's a lot of question in one little question. What goes into it is what you see. It's not your average everyday car show. It's cars that you just plain don't ever see in the public. You'll never see it at your local cruise night. You'll never see it at every car show. These cars, a lot of times, only come out for concourse, and they travel all over the place, all over the country. And that's what they do, is they concourse these cars. These cars are just, they're incredible automobiles that you never see.
So learning to be a concourse judge must involve going to school, getting the foundation. How did that work?
But it comes with, my judges, they've all got a lot of experience in judging, and that can be at that local level, at the AACA level, the Antique Auto Club of America. And they learn over the years, they develop themselves. I've got a couple of the judges that I have now. One is a very well-known writer, and the other one runs the concourse down at Amelia Island.
Oh.
And they all, they all take the time and they learn what these cars are, and they do a great job. They all do a great job.
So the responsibility of judging really is, one, understanding the car that you're going to be judging so that you know the particulars, the details. And the cars are judged both for originality, but also style and flair.
Well, absolutely. When it comes to a concourse, things are a little bit different. It comes down to being a beauty contest. And yeah, the car has to be correct. It has to be the way it's supposed to be. And I tell my judges the same thing. It is a beauty contest. And if you've got two cars that are absolutely perfect, forget what the value is because it doesn't count. Which one would you rather take home?
So it really does come down at some point or another personal preference when judging. Right.
It's a beauty contest. It is absolutely a beauty contest. And around here, you look what's around you, and that's a difficult choice.
It is. You have to break beauty down to just a few points.
But again, they have to look in. They have to say, okay, does this belong there? Does that belong there? And once they find out all that stuff does belong there, then they can say, okay, which one do I want in my garage when I go home?
Very good. So among all these cars, have you got a favorite here?
Well, I don't know. There's a Ferrari over there that I've been in love with, but I'll tell you, Packard Roadsters, Packard dual cowl Phaetons, the Bentley over here. There's nothing I'd be embarrassed to be seen in. Let me tell you, there's some incredible automobiles here. They get better every year, and I love doing this. I do it. It's a labor of love. The guy that I do it with, Rick Beekoff, and I, we plan this a year ahead. We're already working on next year, which is our 10th anniversary, and we're talking about doing a 3-day event for the 10th anniversary and really going over the top. This is the first year we actually had a waiting list for cars to come in. So we're where we want to be, and the scenery, the backdrop, everything is just it's a spectacular show, and I absolutely love doing it. I kill myself, and I love doing it.
Well, it's truly a labor of love, and I don't think you could find a more beautiful venue to be in. It truly is the Pebble Beach-esque kind of setting here, isn't it? We enjoyed talking to you. Thanks so much for taking the time out. We know you're busy.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Thanks again.
Thanks a lot. Good luck.
We'll be back just a bit.
Hi, I'm Dirk Burrowes, and I'm on the set of Classic Drive Television. And to that end, we'd like to have you here too. Classic Drive is having a contest, and we're going to invite 3 enthusiasts with their cars to spend the day with us, learn all about them, and who knows, maybe even become a car star themselves. So, get your pictures together, tell us about your car, and send it to us to the address below. And make sure you check out our website and Facebook page for other details about this contest and upcoming episodes at Classic Drive Television. Hope to see you here.
I'm Jim, and I'm from Lowry's Auto Restoration, and this is my crew, and you're watching Classic Drive Television.
Hi, I'm here with Thomas Whitehall of Whitehall Restorations out of Hopkinton, Massachusetts. And while we're looking at a car that they restored, we're not looking at a car that's actually for a customer. It's Tom's personal car. This is a Chrysler 300, just an unbelievable restoration. Tom, how did you come to have a love for this car and decide to restore it?
Well, basically, I've been playing with these since I was a child. I was driving this stuff back in the 50s, all right? And so I spent 13 years in electronic design engineering and decided to quit because I liked playing with cars. So a hobby turned into a business that now employs 5 people and 3 of my sons.
So a family business.
It's a family business.
So how recent was this restoration?
This was completed in 2017, and it only has been shown once prior, and it went out to Chicago to the Macadam, which is the muscle car and Corvette Nationals. And it's not kind of what car you would expect at a Corvette and muscle car show, but they found out about it through my son, and they wanted this car very, very badly. So when it went out there, it was supposed to fit on my son's spot with the Chevelles, and wouldn't fit. And South Oak Dodge had a huge display, and they saw what was going on and turned around and said, get that car out of those Chevys and get it over here.
There you go.
So they gave me a prime spot. And so basically, I did this as a car for myself, but this is typical of the type of work that we do at Whitehall.
So you were telling me a little interesting story beforehand that this car was actually drag raced at one point,
Yes.
and it engine seized,
Yes.
rear quarter got hit in a guardrail, and it got put away.
It got parked from 1974 until 3 years ago.
So the other interesting part is this car was in Whitehall, Ohio?
Whitehall, Ohio, and we are Whitehall Auto in Hopkinton. And so kind of it's nice that it came to us.
It is very nice, sort of apropos, isn't it? So what kind of engine's this got?
This is a 413 Cross Ram, 375 horse, torque flight. These cars were basically the banker's hot rod of the year. They were cost almost the same as the Imperial, which was the flagship of Chrysler. So these cars, only 337 were built. And today, there's probably 10% of those.
So is this something you just sort of found, or is this a car that you had your eye on for a while?
It found me.
It did.
Because we do this type of work, and people know me and know that this is the type of car we like, and consequently that we will bring the car to a level most places will not.
So there's all ends of spectrum when it comes to car restoration and preservation. This car is at the very pinnacle of the restoration end. If you look at detail of this car, we see perfect engine bay, perfect interior, perfect lines on the car, and it takes thousands of hours to get to this point.
Actually at Macadam, they scored the car on 1,000 points. It scored 994. They took 2 points for the engine because it was too shiny, 2 points for the chassis, which was too shiny, and found 2 points that they wanted to just put onto it. So we have no complaints.
No, that's about as perfect as something can get, isn't it?